Welcome to the case study reports, where this tool of the open source application Net2Plan will be explained. Net2Plan allows the generation of built-in or user-defined reports from any network design. The report generation tool is integrated within several functionalities of Net2Plan so that it's possible to create reports collecting performance measures in any of these aspects. Once the network design is completed, users can analyze and evaluate their design by means of these reports, which can be built-in or user-defined ones. First, we are going to apply an example report, which are included in the libraries of Net2Plan to a specific network design, and then modify one of these reports to show the users how to develop, modify, and run their own reports. So, open Net2Plan. After open Net2Plan, click on Tools, and then we can see the 5 functionalities that offers Net2Plan on which we can apply reports except traffic metric design. In this case, we are going to apply a report to an offline network example. For this, click on Offline Network Design. To generate a report, a network design should be loaded, although the design does not have to be complete. That is, only with a network topology we can apply a report. As seen in other case studies, we are going to load a network topology with traffic daemons. So we'll click on this button and select an N2P file. For example, this network design, and click on Open. At this point, we can already generate a report associated with this topology or network design, and for this, click on View Reports tab. But what is a report? A report is a code that receives a network design, input parameters, and returns a string with any information about this input network. The nature of the report can be varied. There are some reports type that are included as examples in Net2Plan, and the users can make its own reports, modifying included examples or making new ones. Well, the structure of the reporting panel is similar to algorithm execution. In this panel, users can control the execution of a report. For that to happen, users should specify the Java class containing the report. A class file can be selected using the load button. In addition, a jar file can be also selected. For example, we select this jar file included in Net2Plan with many examples. Click on Open, and in that case, the pull-down menu below permits the user selecting one among the class files in the jar. In this case, we select Report Network Design. Once a report is selected, the description text field shows the report description as returned by the getDescription method of the report. The parameters panel shows the set of input parameters of the report. Net2Plan invokes the getParameters method of the report to obtain the list of input parameters and a name, a value, and a description message for each parameter. This information is displayed in this parameters panel. The graphical interface permits the user modifying the value of the parameter by double-clicking in the value. In this example, this report doesn't have any parameters. Well, the report is executed pressing the Show button. At this moment, Net2Plan invokes the method executeReport of the code, passing as inputs the current network design, the values of the input parameters as stream objects, any parsing should be done by the report, and the current values of the Net2Plan wide parameters. The executeReport method returns a string with this HTML information. If the method raises an exception, a message is shown in the Java console. The Java console can be opened by clicking on File and then Show Java Console. After execute the report, we can see here the generated information. This title network design report is generated by getTitle method of the report, and for a better view, by pressing View Navigator button, we can view this information in the web browser. In this report, we can see information from the network topology, links and nodes in the network, and add some metrics related to link capacities on offer and carried traffic if this information is available. So, for example, traffic metrics, we can view a table with the total offer traffic, carried traffic, and its values. Now we are going to modify this report to show if the traffic is symmetric or not. That is, if for each demand the traffic from the ingress node to the egress node is the same as the traffic from the egress node to the ingress node. To show this, we will include a row in this table in traffic metrics section with a variable showing the symmetry. Well, in order to create or modify reports in Net2Plan, like algorithms, a Java programming environment must be set up, and any Java integrated development environment can be used to create algorithms or reports. We choose Eclipse Suite in this example, and obviously Eclipse Java Runtime and Java JDK version 7 or above must be previously installed and configured in the system. So run Eclipse. After run Eclipse and select a working directory, this window appears. We are going to create a new project, so click on File and then click on New Java Project and introduce a name, for example Reports, and click on Finish. Well, to run properly, the external libraries of Net2Plan must be included in the user's project. For this, open the project properties by right-clicking in the reports folder, and now click on build path and configure the build path, and now click on add external jars. In Net2Plan folder, in lib folder, there are the external libraries of Net2Plan, so we select all and click on open. Furthermore, we can add the Java doc and the source code of each library by clicking here, and in this attachment introduce the path for the source code, and here the Java doc path, and click OK. Well, now we are going to get the code of the report. We can get it in two ways: downloading it from Net2Plan website, visiting net2plan.com, and in code repository section we can view many examples of reports in this section, and we can view the code for each of these reports if we click on the name, for example report network design. Here we can view the code and save as and modify the code in Eclipse. Or we can get the code, copy it from the jar folder included in the downloaded application. The second option is more advisable for this example and for reports in general, because the report creates a HTML file that has references to a set of figures included in this jar file. So we are going to apply the second option. In Net2Plan folder, in workspace folder, we can view this jar file. If we open this jar file by right-clicking with a zip application, we can search for the code of the reports. If we click on this folder, come Net2Plan examples and reports. In this example, network design, and we can view here the main HTML, that is HTML template associated with the report, and the figures and images included in this HTML code. And these two files are the report offering. The examples including Net2Plan have this format: an HTML template with associated figures and Java code that performs the report. So now the next step is unzip files we want out of this jar file of Net2Plan and copy them into Eclipse project folder. So select these files and click on unzip and search the Eclipse folder. In my case it's here, Eclipse and reports, and select source folder and click on accept. In Eclipse again, if we refresh the project by right clicking and click on refresh button, we can view the new information in the source folder. In this package, the report network design, the Java class, and the main HTML and the figures associated with this template. So if we click on the Java file, we can view the code and modify it. Now we are going to explain the report code. As we can see before, this report shows basic information about the network plan like topology, capacity and traffic metrics, and details about our network design. Like all reports and algorithms in Net2Plan, this report implements an interface, in this case the iReport interface, that we can view. It's contained visiting net2plan.com in library API Java doc section. net2plan.com in documentation section, library API Java doc, and we can view the iReport interface. It has these 4 methods where we can see its description, its input and output arguments. Well, first, this report has the execute report method, where first these variables are initialized, taking their values using the Net2Plan object as input argument of this method. Then these metrics, these variables, are initialized, and the values for these metrics are obtained in this loop using several functions. After that, the report generates the HTML string, and in this block the report calls this function that returns the HTML text shown to the user. Then here the value of each metric is replaced in HTML template, and we can view that here if we open the main HTML file. And for example, in topology metrics, we can view the number of nodes and its value. Its value is determined by this variable in the report code. So topology metrics n. In the algorithm, we can view here how the topology metrics tag is replaced by the variable n in the code. And after that, replace all the metrics. The details per node, per link, per daemon, per route, and per protection segment are generated in this code. To do this, it generates an instance of a string builder Java class for every item. For example, here, string builder. For every item that contains the information that will be introduced in each HTML table later using the replace first method as before. We can view that here. Generate the string builder with the daemon information table, generate this information here, and after that, with the replace first method, replace the demand information table tag with the stream builder object demand information table. And finally, found the get description method that returns this definition in the user interface, that it says that this report shows basic information about the network plan, the get title method that returns this title in the user interface, and the get parameters method that returns the list of required parameters, where the first item of each element is the parameter name, the second one is the parameter value, and the third one is the description parameter. In this case, it returns an empty array due to this report has no input parameters. Well, we will modify this report. We will introduce a new metric that indicates whether the traffic is symmetric or not. That is, checks whether the physical topology has the same number of links between each node pair in both directions, assuming multi-diagraphs, and same weights per direction. So this is the code after include modifications. So first, rename the class, modify, and recompilation. And well, we introduce a new variable in the execute report method. Introduce this new variable, a boolean variable that its call is traffic symmetric, and it's initialized to false. Then we generate a value using this function. Is quite bidirectional, which input arguments are the demand table obtained with the Net2Plan object, the demand over traffic in Orlan vector, and the number of nodes. And with this function we obtain the value for this metric. And finally, we introduce the value in the HTML template using the replace first method as before. And we do that in the traffic metrics section here in this line. Well, now the algorithm is modified, but it's necessary to modify the main HTML file to introduce this tag in the traffic metrics table. So we are going to edit this file. Well, in the bin folder, in Eclipse folder, we open the main HTML file with a text editor. We can view the report information in HTML language and all the tags that will obtain its value using the replace first method used in the algorithm code. So we are going to introduce our new variable in the traffic metrics table. In this traffic metrics section, we have introduced our new variable is traffic symmetric using this tag. So the modification is done. We return to Net2Plan to try this modification. Again, in Net2Plan, we load our modify algorithm in the Eclipse folder, and we select the class file that is in the bin folder. So select this report network design modify and click on open. We can view its description and how this report doesn't have input parameters. Click on show button to execute the report, and after a few seconds we can view the report information here. If we go to traffic metrics section, here we can view our new metric showing whether the traffic is symmetric or not, and its value that in this case it's no. Well, we have seen as most reports included in Net2Plan have associated an HTML template. We will generate a simple report which will not use that template, and we will show results on the users panel. So back to Eclipse. In Eclipse, generate a new class in this project, for example, and introduce the name report cost and click on finish. This generated code produces a report about the cost of the network. It gets the cost for setting a node, setting a link, and per kilometer of link. As before, this report implements the report interface, and now we will explain each method. The getDescription method that returns this definition in the user interface, that it says this report shows basic information about the cost of the network. The getTitle method returns this title in the user interface, and the getParameters method that returns the input parameters for this report, which users can modify for each execution. There are three parameters: link cost, node cost, and link cost per kilometer, with a default value and a description. The first link cost is the cost of set a link, the node cost is the cost of set a node, and the link cost per kilometer is the cost per kilometer of a link. And finally, we are going to explain the execute report method. First, we obtain the number of nodes and the number of links using the Net2Plan object as input argument for this method. After that, in these three lines, these three variables are initialized, taking their values using the input parameters set by the user: node cost, link cost, and link cost per kilometer. After that, the nodes and links cost are obtained in this two line and shown to the user using the string builder instance. Then, for each link in this loop, we obtain the partial cost of each link depending on number of kilometers, and it shows to the user using the string builder instance again in this line. And finally, the total cost of all links is shown to the user in this line. And finally, the method returns the report information as a string format. So now try this report. We must load the class file in Eclipse folder. Reports in the bin folder is the class file. So select report cost and click on open. Here we can view its description. This report shows basic information about the cost of the network and the three input parameters, its values and its descriptions. We can modify these parameters, for example, link cost 2, node cost 2, and link cost per kilometers 1. And after that, we click on show button to execute the report, and here we can view the generated information: the total cost of nodes, the total cost of set links, the partial cost of each link per kilometer installed, and finally the total cost of links in the network. More information about these tools can be found visiting net2plan.com.